Rejoice! Son of God has hit theaters and is this week's focus on faith in film. I'm Rachel Lamb, and if you haven't seen Son of God yet, get ready for an epic experience. Not just anyone would have the courage and the resources to take on a project with such far-reaching implications, but the film's producers, Mark Burnett and Roma Downey, knew they were called and positioned to do the job, and they sat down with us to explain how the idea took shape.
It's really started off as like a whisper for us, which got louder, and Roma said, you know what, we really should do this.
Well, you know, I think we probably are the noisiest Christians in Hollywood. But I can tell you, I have noticed something changing, you know? I think that God is moving, and people are feeling more emboldened to step out.
You never quite know what God's plan is and why we had all that success. It gave us kind of a leverage to get the Bible series done, and then while making that, Roma then said, you know, we should have been making a big movie. And that's where Son of God came from. And now we are.
Son of God is in theaters and no doubt making a huge impact on believers and non-believers alike. In fact, Mark Burnett shared one of his favorite comments so far.
We've met people, by the way, of Eastern religion who in the last couple of weeks have said to us, you know, I thought this was like a Western myth. This movie made me want to know more about who Jesus is. It's only a movie, but what a great effect.
And what about the man who has taken on the lead in this film? Audiences and his co-stars agree. Portuguese actor Diogo Morgado portrays the role of Jesus beautifully. But as he tells us, being beautiful was not part of it.
We try to make it as truthful as possible and raw. But the truth is, it was dirty. For Jesus, for instance, we try to dirt him up a little bit. The hair, it's covering his face, it would be natural. And I think that's a plus in terms of the storytelling.
Diogo is, as a man and as an actor, just an incredible individual. I think what he brings to the table as a leader, as his own soul, his gentleness, his strength, his fiery nature, and his thoughtful nature, really, is such an amazing thing to work with.
To have a leading man as generous and as warm as Diogo is just extraordinary. It's like he puts Jesus on in the morning and he wears that serenity all day.
And as he was preparing as an actor, he told me he realized there's no way to prepare properly to portray Jesus Christ. He said, I decided to just let the Spirit come through me authentically. And wow, did that work. You cannot take your eyes off of him.
It's hard to take your eyes off of any moment of this story. Even the characters you wish that weren't there, like maybe Pilate or Judas. It says a lot about the actors who dug deep to find the humanity in those roles.
What I find always very interesting about these characters that are archetypally bad is that underneath the archetype there's always a lot of complexity, always, otherwise they just become one-dimensional. So I've just got on with trying to capture something in him that is unsteady, something in him that is unresolved, something in him that is vulnerable, oddly, given that he was a very brutal man, and something in him that is that would be of interest in our study of a human being and why they do what they do.
It's been really interesting with the research aspect of this, and it was really looking at all the contravening histories of Judas, as well as the Gospels themselves and the positions of them. In some ways, he's kind of a cipher that pushes the story along, and my attempt was to give him a greater backstory that makes sense of his decisions, which are horrible. I mean, he makes a horrific mistake. And what he does is inexcusable from outside, but as an actor you have to find a way to make that believable that he makes these choices, and so that's, I hope, what we've done.
And Roma, you played Mary in the film. What was it like to play that character and to see yourself on the big screen in such an important role?
I went down to Morocco to film Son of God as a producer. I didn't expect to play a role. My husband said to me, I think you're missing the obvious. You need to step into the role yourself. And I'm so glad that I did. I've had the opportunity as an actor to play some wonderful roles in my career, but nothing like stepping into playing the mother of Jesus. Because while we know she was the mother of the Son of God, she was also the mother of a son. And it was that humanity in the telling of the story that we would understand that she stood there and watched her son be brutally murdered. And you know, we know that Jesus only said 7 things from the cross, yet he took time to love his mother. And it says so much about him.
Don't you love hearing the way Roma talks about Mary and her relationship with her son? It's exactly that passion that won both Mark and Roma the respect of the cast that ultimately led to the successful completion of a film that will undoubtedly make history.
We knew from the beginning of going down the road to work on Son of God that the production values, the scale had to be epic. This is, for billions of people, the most important story in their lives, more important than their families. This is the story of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. And this was an epic time of thousands of pilgrims coming into Jerusalem. And we wanted to show the scale and the CGI of Old Jerusalem as an epic city. It really feels like one of the old, big, epic movies. And you get swept up in this. And yet, there's also the intimate moments.
This is a complex and unique story that touched people for 2,000 years and basically shaped and changed the world as we know it. So you need to have someone willing to tell the story again, once again, and bring something different. And that was what I felt when I sat and I talked with Mark and Roma. They wanted to bring something different, improved, updated to the story that they love so much.
Working with Mark and Roma has been extraordinary, and these guys know exactly what they want to do with this. And we felt the drive come from the top down, which has been really nice. It's obviously a project that is very close to their hearts.
Son of God has been a project close to Mark and Roma's hearts, and now it's a movie close to the hearts of thousands. If you haven't seen it yet, don't wait. You've heard Mark Burnett describe the epic scale. This is a film that needs to be seen on the big screen and with people you love, both believers and non-believers.
The silver screen, it just presents the film in a way that you can't experience that at home in the same way. It's larger than life. Jesus deserves a larger than life presentation. There's also something about seeing it in community. I have seen this hundreds of times now, but seeing it on the big screen, I'm still discovering things that are new in it. It still speaks to me. It opens my heart. It's, you know, I think that there's an opportunity here on the one hand for people who don't know the story to just come in and hear. Who hasn't heard of Jesus? Everybody's at least heard of Jesus. Come in and see his life.
With an invitation like that, how can you miss it? And we'd love to know what you think. Tweet us at Daystar using hashtag SonofGod to share your thoughts. For more resources on how you can promote this film, visit sonofgodmovies.com. This week's Faith and Film.